Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the All Dolphins podcast on YouTube, Miami Dolphins Insider on the Fans First Sports Network, wherever you get your podcast. We are now into August with episode 31, training camp practice number 6. Then it was the first time this summer where we had a practice that actually started outdoors and had to be moved indoors because of the alarm sounding, because there was some nasty lightning in the area.
They stretched it out for as long as they possibly could. And as we were discussing, I mean, we've known for years that they have a weather person specialist watching the weather during practice. So the minute it alarmed, they went inside. But I think the fans they just missed 30 minutes. I think they just missed.
The only problem is they missed the two biggest plays of practice, including the now famous 95-yard run by Chris Brooks. And it was semi-legit 95-yard run, because you know me, I'm one of those, I hate
giving semi-legit. It was legit.
Yeah, the only question is, couldn't tell whether Ethan Bonner, the rookie free agent, when he was trying to chase him across the field, kind of gave up on him a little bit because it was practice, or because he realized, I can't catch him, he's got too much.
I heard a whistle. Somebody blew a whistle. So okay. I heard a whistle. Yeah, okay. That's fair. While Chris Brooks was running 95 yards to the end zone, there was a whistle at like the 40-yard line. Defender stops. Chris Brooks was like, screw this, I'm going all the way there. And then some defenders picked up and continued to run. To me, I mean, we were right there on top of it. Yes. And nobody touched him. It was well blocked. The crease was there. By the time he had run 30 yards, nobody was near him. He would have got that 95 unless somebody ran him down.
It would have been 65 or 70 yards regardless. Yes.
Yeah. But I will say this. He got robbed of a touchdown right there on the goal line.
The play
before they flipped fields, Brandon Peely tried to take ownership of claim for a tackle that I didn't see. And I basically said the B word, like when he got robbed of his touchdown.
Bulldozer?
Yeah, when he got robbed of his touchdown. And I don't know who Chris Brooks is, never knew his number, never saw him take a carry. So I don't have any favoritism there. The man got 2 touchdowns today.
Yeah, here's the thing, is the Brandon Peely play, what happened is Brandon Peely was semi-engaged with an offensive lineman, stuck out his arm as Chris Brooks is getting close to the goal line, and he decided that that's a stop. And it's one of those where I think I'm kind of with you. Had everybody been playing full speed, that's a touchdown. And I will say this about Chris Brooks, and I said this on another podcast in the offseason, so I'm not, and it's documented, somebody has it on tape. I like the way the guy looked in the offseason program. To me, he looks the part, and I'll bring it up as a comparison to Zaquandre White, who was a rookie free agent last year. And if you recall, all the Twitter scouts, when the Dolphins signed him as a rookie free agent, were like, oh, Dolphins got to steal. This guy's a stud. Look at his numbers at South Carolina and all that. And with all due respect, throughout the offseason program, I kept waiting for a moment where I was like, yeah, I see something. And I never saw anything. And guess what? He never got picked up by anybody. He just got signed yesterday to somebody, got signed July 31st, which tells you he's not like a high priority player now. Whereas Chris Brooks looks the part. I'm not saying he's going to become anything. The Dolphins have too many bodies at running back.
Yeah.
But certainly somebody I could see winding up on the practice squad.
I today was like, who are you? What is your number? What is your name? I was impressed. Now, he's just playing because Jeff Wilson is sidelined and backs are getting more reps. And I will tell you, Myles Gaskin has impressed me for the last 2 days.
He looked fine.
Don't say fine. Don't be disrespectful to Myles Gaskin.
Here's the thing. Is there anything special about Myles Gaskin? He's a nice player who, if there's 3 yards to be had, he's going to get you 3 yards. But he's not going to do anything that really is going to wow anybody.
He gets good runs. He gets good runs. They're solid runs. It's impressive stuff. I like it. So I don't see any reason why he shouldn't get the credit. Like Myles Gaskin is slightly above average in everything, not exceptional in anything.
and he's still not making the roster. So
we'll see. I don't know.
I want to say this about the Chris Brooks run, because it's flashing, and you made it sound like, yes, it was very well blocked, but there were two spots where Chris Brooks had to make the cut to take advantage of the blocking, and he did his job as a running back, and he made the right cut both times.
He weaved through that line, and it was impressive.
And it was very, very well blocked. I wish I could tell you who it was that did the blocking. I can't, but it was a really, really nice run. And then the other big play was a really long completion from Skylar Thompson to Jalen Waddle down the right sideline, above, on top of the aforementioned Ethan Bonner. Poor guy was on the wrong end at a couple of big plays, but that was like a really nice throw, and it's Jalen Waddle.
Credit for that, a credit for that throw. I got to change that. If
that was Skylar Thompson. And now, since you're going to take a shot at Tua by saying it wasn't him, I am going to go out and say it immediately. I actually thought Tua was the best player at practice today. I thought he had his best practice. He was sharp and on point, and he made his best throw of camp. You and I disagree on this, because I'll let you say which one was. Mine was today. He threw a pass to Jalen Waddle, which had to be, 20, 22 yards, right over, with a nice little arc over the defender in the middle of the field, right in strike to Waddle. Was
a diving defender trying to deflect the pass.
A beautiful thing.
I've seen him do it 500 times.
I'm not saying he hasn't done it 500 times. I'm just saying that was his best throw of camp. A lot better than the completion to Tyreek Hill, which is, I'm stealing your thunder here. Sorry.
50-yard completion to Tyreek Hill can never ignore, like, I can't undo my memory. So I'm sorry. Like, you're amazed when Tua can zip a pass in there or just thread it. I've seen.
I'm not. Did I say I was amazed by it? I said that was a really, really impressive throw. I'm not amazed by it. That's what he does best. He's
doing very well, and this is what my expectations were for him. My standards are a little higher for Tua, and so I'm not about to gift wrap him. Is he the top performer on offense? Yes, and I should expect him to be the top performer. Especially when Tyreek. The one thing is, okay, Tyreek's not Tyreek right now, but he's getting closer to Tyreek.
Had a good day today.
He's getting closer to being himself. But can we not, I'm not about deceiving the fans. This is not the Tyreek I saw last year.
Completely agree. But here's the point, though, is you're contradicting yourself, because you're saying, your standards for Tua are higher, and yet you get amazed by a 50-yard completion to Tyreek when he's completely wide open, which, let's be honest, wasn't in stride, as opposed to a really pretty floater over the middle. And here's what I would tell you is a hell of a lot more quarterbacks around the NFL make the long throw to Tyreek than make that pass that he hit to Waddle today.
That's fair. That's fair. But I will say this in my defense. That pass is a zone beater that he beat to Tyreek. They did it twice, which obviously got Vic Fangio's attention. And force the defense to kind of adjust and kind of create a different kind of coverage for that play. It happened the day after they got their butts kicked. No, the practice after they got their butts kicked. So he adjusted. It was just, we needed to see it because the offense was starting to get whooped by the defense, and they responded. Today, I thought the defense won the day. It was a clear.
What? What were you watching, my man? What were you watching? I thought the offense had its best day of the camp.
It's 3-3 for me, with the defense pulling off a dominating performance. You're not at 3-3?
I haven't kept counting on every day. I can tell you the ones that stood out are Friday, clearly defense. Today, to me, was clearly offense.
Okay, so I just said offense won.
I thought you just said the defense won today.
No, I did. I'm sorry. Yeah. I meant offense won.
Okay, sorry. Well, okay. Now we're back. We're
back. Okay. No, they're even. They're even. They're 3-3.
Sounds about right. And
let's put it in context here. When we covered Chad Henne, what would those days be?
Oh boy. I don't want to take a shot at the guy, because he made himself a very long good
answer the question.
Yes, the defense would, but again, also
it'd be like 1-5. I mean, 1-5.
Yeah, but you might even make the case that was also
Tannehill. Tannehill was like 2-4.
Yeah, but Yeah, to me, it's been about, there have been a lot of practices. Like, for example, I think you gave the first practice in front of the fans to the offense. And to me, it was even because the defense won the second half of that
They
practice.
they came in the ninth round of a 12
No,
round
no,
fight.
okay.
Did they didn't
No,
show up by
no, to me, it
halftime?
was tale of two halves, but that's fine. We can.
No, it was not tale of two halves. It was
Okay, Jalen Waddle, another. Well, we can agree to disagree. That's the beauty of this thing here. Jalen Waddle, we can agree, had a really big time practice as well. I had him for 6 catches. I don't know how many you had him for, but yeah, he was getting open. He was catching everything thrown to him.
Yes, no drops today. So he finally cracked into the stock report. Chris Brooks obviously got in. Another guy that I do want to recognize, I think we addressed it a little bit yesterday, and I think it needs to be addressed. I don't really care how Austin Jackson performs in practice. I'm not overly alerted by it because his problem is games. So I'm not going to obsess about how he performs. And I really wasn't paying attention when Jalen Phillips suffered the ankle injury at practice 1, sat out the next 2 practices. First 3 practices, you're not going against Jalen Phillips at his best. Well, today he gets a victory against Jalen Phillips. There was one play, and I hate to single out the play, but Jalen Phillips is rushing wide. He bends a little. Austin Jackson, boop, pancakes him. Now, was Jalen slipping a little bit on the turf? Probably wasn't wearing the right cleats. Maybe he was. There are a lot of players slipping when they went inside on the turf. So the condition, not conditions, but the field was a little bit slick. It is what it is. But Austin Jackson, he hasn't been a problem. He hasn't been noticeable. And that's what I look for from offensive linemen. The only time you should recognize an offensive lineman is when they're burrowing open a hole on a run play, when they commit a false start, commit a holding, or commit or get beat for a sack. I don't know this Austin Jackson at all for 6 practices.
No, I agree. I haven't either, and that's like one of those no news is good news. When it comes to the offensive lineman. No, he's been fine. Let's take care of our bookkeeping situation here, as we do all the time. The players we did not see at practice today were Keon Crossan again, the cornerback, and Jesus, I'm going to do this again. Let's just say Brandon Jones and True Williams again were wearing red jerseys. Jeff Wilson Jr., you mentioned him, did not take part in team drills, but he was back at practice. Teron Armstead, as we mentioned yesterday, didn't do anything really. He's just there, and that's going to be the case. And I kind of asked him after practice. He spoke to the media and asked him about what the plan might be for him as far as practicing, and then asked him how much work he feels he needs. And he basically did a whole lot of tap dancing around the question with basically not answering anything.
Yes, but he objected to the thought of him playing in the exhibition season. He's like,
no. What he said is he prefers joint practices, but
but then he was like, I haven't played an exhibition game in years.
All right.
And then he brought up, I'm an 11-year vet. Mind I remind you that. I don't want to see Austin Jackson in the exhibition season, and I'm not even sure I want to see him taking joint practice snaps. But maybe he will. Maybe that's what he wants to do. He said they got a program. Obviously, they're not telling us what the program is. Right. Yeah. And there's a valid reason for you not telling us what the program is, because when you don't do that, then you could alter the program and say he was always on the program and he made the program. If you tell us what the program is and then you don't meet the program, then you suffer the setback. So, I don't need to see him. I know he's not going to play in the exhibition season. Kendall Lamb, Cedric O, Jerron Christian, maybe even Isaiah Wynn, they're going to get a lot of opportunities. So question is, who's ready for that opportunity?
No, that's a good point. Let's see what else stood out. I'm trying to think. It wasn't like a sack fest like we've seen. I didn't see one clear sack you're Mr. Oprah with you get a sack, you get a sack, you get a sack, you get a sack. I don't know if you saw any sacks. I saw a QB pressure by Bradley Chubb, a QB pressure by Christian Wilkins. I didn't see anybody with like a clear that's a sack.
I'm going to look. I don't think I did as either. I'm going to look, but continue.
David Long Jr., another, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. David Long Jr., another tackle for loss on a running play where he immediately got into the backfield.
He's pretty good.
Oh, yeah. No, it wasn't as quite the splash practice he had Monday.
No.
Was ridiculous. It was like, man, that guy was all over the field.
And he did not get the orange jersey.
You know what, though? And this is the question I might ask to Mike McDaniel tomorrow when he speaks. No, sorry. The next practice when he speaks before the guys go take the field is because I'm pretty sure it's not strictly practice performer of the day, that there might be other stuff involved. It could be like meetings,
tests you've taken,
lifting, whatever. I don't know, but I kind of get the feeling it's not because if it's purely practice performance, David Long had to be the guy who got the orange jersey.
Like Jerome Baker said the day before, he was like, well, he clearly got to get the orange jersey. Like, I mean, if there's an orange jersey front runner, it has to be him. That was a very impressive practice. I mean, maybe the coaches saw different things and maybe he's not always making the right reads or he's not making the right calls, but like, and I mean, do we really care? Outside the playlist, which I thought Javon Holland's playlist was kind of whack today. No disrespect. But
is that whack good or whack bad?
Whack bad, sir. Whack bad.
Sorry. And I don't recall what Javon Holland did in practice Monday that was special enough that it would warrant getting the orange.
The deflection with him and Xavier. I thought about it. I'm like, I don't get it. No sacks, sir. No sacks. Damn, okay. No sack day?
How about that?
No sack day. Wow.
Okay, I got the other. Now, I hate it when I can't remember the guy. The other guy who was not spotted at practice was Bennett Williams, the rookie free agent safety from Oregon. Did not see him out there today. That's a long. And Omar was like, who?
I was like, who? And understand, if you don't make plays as an undrafted rookie, I have no desire to learn your name and no desire to learn your number. That's none. Right. Zero.
He's and number 35.
If you do make plays like Chris Brooks, I now know your name and I now know your number. One day you're on my radar. And now you make a play again, I'll know 33, that's Chris Brooks. But whoever you just said at safety.
Bennett Williams. You should know him because he played at Oregon.
No, I don't.
Ron McKinley and Javon Holland, the aforementioned Javon Holland.
No, I don't. I have no idea who he is. He is a stranger to me. I'm sorry. I have no recollection of who you speak of. I know that.
That's not nice. Okay, speaking of injured defensive backs, we don't know if Bennett Williams' his absence was injury related or not, but one injured defensive back is Jalen Ramsey, who again we spotted at practice today, who actually spent some time on the field talking to Sam Madison and other coaches, and then talked to the group of DBs before they did some position drill. And even though in the grand scheme of things it doesn't necessarily mean all that much that he's out there, I kind of think it's completely cool that he is there with his team, unlike certain other players who are sidelined for a long period of time who you never see.
Yes, he's on crutches. I'm not going to take another shot like I took on Twitter at Will Fuller.
You kind of just did. You kind of just did right now.
I mean, like, guys get injured and then they disappear. They're gone. They're ghosts. Jalen Phillips has been there every single day. He's totally
Jalen Ramsey.
Jalen Ramsey. Damn, we got too many Jalens on this team.
Yes, we do.
I like to see it. He was coaching up Cam Smith on one particular play, and that's what you need, and that's what you want to see, man. And he's out, he cares, and you don't always get that. I am not of the opinion, and I know I'm in the minority here, where they always give you this wonderful timetable, and it's December and he's going to come back, and if he does, feel fortunate and lucky. If he doesn't make it to December, it's January. What has he got? 1 or 2 games of playoffs? Okay. All right. So the fact that he hasn't checked out, love it. What what I'm more interested in is who replaces him, and I don't think I have a clear answer right now, not yet. I think that there are
Too early.
three very valid candidates: Noah Igbenogany, Cam Smith, and Eli Apple. I think I'd give them all a 33% chance of winning that job. Understand, Cater is going to be the nickel.
I'm glad you mentioned him because I'm sure some fans right
Yeah.
and now would have gone, what about Cater?
Yeah, Cater's going to be the nickel. Cater's going to play 700 snaps. Maybe he's the boundary and the nickel, and somebody just comes in as the boundary, which is a very strong possibility for a Cam Smith. If Cam Smith just comes in as the boundary when they're in the nickel package, then Cam Smith's playing 300, 400 snaps for the season. And Cater plays base and plays nickel. Now, I think that's a lot for a second-year player, but hey, I'm not the judge nor jury of this whole situation. And I'm sure that Sam Madison and Ronaldo Hill and Vic Fangio will think this thing out thoroughly. If you ask me who's the more talented player right now, I'd probably say Cam Smith. He's got a PBU every single day of practice.
Again today?
Yeah, every single day of practice.
Yep.
Always, doesn't have breakdowns. Passes the sniff test to me.
Oh, big time.
I've seen him beat once. I mean, it happens. I've seen Xavier Howard get beat once. Not this camp, but it had. He got past
a DPI.
Yeah. Don't see him getting holdsy. Now refs aren't here, but you don't see him getting holding calls. Now the question is, will he raise his hand and say, "I'm ready" when we're having joint practices? Because if he does that, then you got a keeper. Yeah. But right now, I think it's Noah's job because, and I want to point out something that Xavier said on his NFL Network interview yesterday. He singled out Noah and he said Noah's playing well. And the reason that Noah's playing well is because he's not getting targeted. When you're not getting targeted, you're doing something right.
Right.
And Xavier's probably taking more passes on than Noah's taking. And I'm not saying Noah's great or Noah's good, but where were we a year ago or the year before that, where literally quarterbacks would line up and look for Noah? Because it was
where we are? We're in a year removed, and now in a scheme that does not put a spotlight on every shortcoming that Noah has as a cornerback. Am I wrong? Noah is exposed as a man-to-man cover guy.
I don't understand why, because he's got speed and athleticism. I don't get it.
Because he doesn't have the instincts and he doesn't have the feel. And
you would think zone would require more instincts. And this is where I have to have a conversation with a veteran cornerback or Sam, because are you telling me now that zone requires less instincts than man?
Oh, I would think so. Because especially, first of all, you don't have to worry, like double moves don't hurt you nearly as much as they in zone as they do in man.
Touche. Noah was getting killed on double moves.
Getting killed on double moves, and now he doesn't have to worry about that. He just has to worry about the area that he's responsible for.
Okay.
And he's got the athletic skills he has. He's fast. He's physical and all that. That doesn't go away in a zone. In a man, if all he's thinking about is like freaking out about what the guy's going to do to him, it's going to make him play slow. I thought when they hired Vic Fangio, and I read up on him and understood that there would be more zone than man. To me, Noah immediately was one guy where that's going to help him a lot. And I think maybe, I think I had told you this before, maybe that salvages him. He's not going to go from
bust to star.
Well, okay, I was going to say a guy who headed for the waiver wire to the Pro Bowl, but I think there's something there. He just looked very impressive.
Oh, hold on. Let's take it back. Take it back. He has not looked very impressive.
He has not impressive to me. He's
not embarrassed himself, which is what you're used to.
How many completions in front of him have you seen? Or around him?
Can't say I've seen many things get completed in front of him.
Is that not the definition of doing a really
So are you saying that he's the top performer?
He's been very, very solid.
Top 10 performer of training camp.
I'd have to go down a list, but I mean, he hasn't been as noticeable as Cam Smith, for example, because Cam Smith, like you said, is breaking up the
PBU.
pass every single day. But he's been good. I mean, among the cornerbacks, he's been good.
He's probably cornerback number 4. Howard, who I'm not going to ever move him from spot number 1 because
Are we ranking him on camp performance or ranking him on ability? Because
camp performance. Like Howard just takes on Tyreek. Like you want to go you think everybody else wants to go against Tyreek right now? Tyreek is on a revenge tour from week 1. You think anybody else wants that?
Yeah, but it's also understanding they've done a lot of zone too. So
yeah,
like Hill found space in the zones today at practice. He had 4 catches. That's what I charted for him, and
yeah,
mostly against zone. And it was one of them. I know I got to point this out because I know you were chomping at the bit. There was one point where at one time he was lined up right across from Eli Apple, and Omar's like, "Oh yes, this is what I want to see."
Finally.
And then they motion somebody, and then you can see Apple dropping into his zone. I don't want to give too many details, and then Hill runs a quick slant, catches the ball completely away from Apple.
Yes. I mean, why don't we get it one-on-ones? Like you know what we're waiting for. You just keep denying us the Eli Apple versus Tyreek Hill. Like it's intentional. And I feel slighted.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's great for the media, but what does it accomplish for the Dolphins? If we're going to be honest about it.
Yeah. I will say Trill Williams and Brandon Jones. I didn't notice the Brandon Jones, but Trill Williams and Brandon Jones both got a taste of 11 on 11s. And you know, we had I'm gonna tap dance around this. Even though it's been discussed and mentioned, Trill Williams wants to make a conversion to safety. Now, there are a lot of cornerbacks that are working as safeties in camp. I don't know what that's about. I don't know if that's a hallmark or staple of Vic Fangio. We will get in trouble if we name them. But Trill is back there, and it looks like he's going to get tested there. The question is, where is he a better fit? Where is he better suited? And both you and I are Trill Williams fans.
Yes.
I'm dying to see what he looks like covering anybody one-on-one. And I know I shouldn't say, I know Brandon Jones is not great at that. But if Trill, and I don't think that Deshaun Elliott is good at that as well. But if you have somebody who can get in there, and I don't think they even have a need for the Eric Rowe role. I don't think there's going to be a safety covering tight ends anymore.
Especially not if they're doing a lot of zone.
Yeah, no. It's what I'm seeing is a lot of, and I don't have to, this ain't a state secrets. I'm seeing a lot of Javon Holland covering the nickel. And that's unique for me. Now the question is, what do the other guys on the field do? Where do they go? What are they doing? It's so mind challenging to pay attention to every single day of this Dolphins defense because there's something new there. And then you're like, oh, and one thing that I do want to address, which we could address now because he addressed it in his press conference with the media, Emmanuel Ogbah standing up.
Everybody knew that was coming.
Absolutely, unequivocally hate it. No.
Not being wishy-washy, Omar. Tell us how you feel about it.
No, there will be no wavering about it. I hate it.
I know you hate it. I know you hate it.
I don't know how Emmanuel feels, but it goes back to, and I asked him, when's the last time you did it? And he was like, I did it in Chicago when I was drafted there as an outside linebacker.
I mean, Cleveland.
In Cleveland. And my response in my head was, how did that turn out? They realized you weren't an outside linebacker and moved you to defensive end, moved you to defensive line. I think Ogbah's best with his hand in the ground. I don't care who he's taking snaps from. I get it. If you're just trying to get an edge setting pass outside linebacker or somebody to replace Phillips or Chubb when they go down, cool. But Ogbah's a $15 million a year player.
Correct. who's not going anywhere, who you probably can't trade because he makes too much money. But here's the thing, Big O.
Omar.
Sorry, God,
It's all right.
Man, wow. Well,
I'm just. Oh, he's Big O.
You're Big O in a different kind of way. My apologies. Here's the thing, though. Is the scheme it's a multiple scheme. It's not they don't always line up the same way. But if they're going to go three guys across and then two edge defenders, Ogbah does not have the bulk to be one of those three inside guys, as opposed to Sealer, Wilkins, and Raekwon Davis, who are
on third downs. He don't.
On third down, he lines up at the end when they got it's more of a 4-3 look or a 4-2-5. That's the thing.
I don't like it. You know I don't like it. I don't see him. I haven't seen him with his hand in the ground in like 5 practices. And I get it. You got to work on it. You got to practice it. He doesn't have the quickness to, 1, drop back in coverage, and 2, turn the corner and get. He's a power guy. He's not a power. I disagree with you there, my man. I completely disagree with you. He's like more of a speed finesse kind of guy. Zach Sealer's a power guy. Raekwon Davis is a power guy. I don't think you stick Emmanuel, because if your idea is Emmanuel Ogbah, Christian Wilkins, Raekwon Davis are your 3 down linemen, I don't know if I can trust Ogbah to hold up against the run, to be very honest with you. That would be my concern there. As nearly as much as Zach Sealer. I don't like it.
And you're thinking, but what about the point I just made? How is not valid?
Okay, I'm not talking first and second downs. I'm not saying, okay, Emmanuel Ogbah needs to be on the field as an interior defensive lineman on first and second downs. I'm saying on third, who should be on the field on third downs? Right now we got Chubb and we got Phillips on the edges. Who's the 2 inside guys that should be there on third down?
No, and now I'm going to completely come over to your side. You're going to welcome me with open arms, Omar? I'm coming over on your side.
Come.
Yeah, on third down, it should be some combination. Zach Sealer, Raekwon Davis shouldn't be on the field on third down if it's a clear pass rushing situation. Sealer probably not either. I could see you could go line up 4 across with Wilkins, absolutely Ogbah.
Wilkins, with Wilkins, Ogbah, Chubb, and Phillips, right?
Yeah.
Why don't I see it?
Because maybe we haven't gotten to the point where we're practicing that specific situation. And I absolutely think you will see it during the regular season on third down in obvious passing situation. The only problem there is that's a pretty expensive third down pass rushing specialist at $15 million guaranteed.
Oh, it's a pretty expensive second teamer too. If we're at the place we're at.
Yes,
that it don't make sense to me. But hey,
hold on. But remember, when they gave him the extension, they sent him a new contract with the big guarantee money for 2023. They didn't have Bradley Chubb on the roster, so at that time
they didn't have Jalen Phillips on the roster either.
Well, but they did. Dude, he got his contract last off season.
And Jalen Phillips
was heading into his second year. So the vision was Phillips on one side, Ogbah on the other side. And then what happens is Ogbah gets off to a slow start and then suffers the season-ending injury. And then the Dolphins, who are in a playoff chase in November, see Bradley Chubb that they can go get him. They go get him. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, what happens with Ogbah?
What happens with Ogbah is he should be with his hand in the ground. That's what happened
on third down. I could agree.
That's all I'm asking. And we'll let the play figure it out. But I feel like there's clearly some, and this wouldn't be the first time, where the writing's on the wall. We're trying to move. We're trying to push you out, and best way to do is make you uncomfortable. And
but it wouldn't have been to push him out. First of all, he's got $15 million guaranteed. He's not going anywhere this year.
I'm not talking about this year. Next year, when you have bad numbers,
I don't think he has anything guaranteed last year, so it wouldn't be a
No,
case.
he doesn't have anything guaranteed next year. But I'm saying,
so it wouldn't be a case where they don't have to make it uncomfortable for Ogbah for him to leave. They can just cut him next year.
yeah.
Okay. No,
But then you have the evidence to justify why you cut him. Well, you didn't really have a productive year because you're, a stand-up outside linebacker. It didn't really go that well. We couldn't trust you to drop back in zone.
became expendable once they traded for Bradley Chubb. That my thought on Ogbah is he's going to be your backup behind Phillips and Chubb as edge defenders on first and second down, and he's going to
maybe he's on the field first down. Maybe as an edge setter.
And who's not on the
Jalen
field?
Phillips is not that great at edge setting.
You actually think that Emmanuel Ogbah is going to start ahead of Jalen Phillips?
No, I didn't say that. I said he could play first down.
Again, but if he's playing first down, who's not playing first down? Because to
Jalen
me,
Phillips.
Yeah, I'm not seeing that in the remotest. To me, it's going to be very clearly Phillips and Chubb on the outside, Ogbah as the backup to those two guys, and then Ogbah hand on the ground with my vision and my hope for him, hand on the ground, getting after the quarterback in obvious third down passing situations or second down obvious passing situations. Let's see what else do we know. Backs on backers. You got your backs on backers.
Oh, damn! Saved it for the last.
Save it for last.
Watch backs on backers, and it was a train wreck for everybody except for Alec Ingold on the offense. Just colossal poop fest.
The linebackers won every rep.
Yeah, linebackers won every rep with the exception of two. Alec Ingold won his rep, and Devon Achane won his rep against Aubrey Miller. And competition, yes, it's kind of aligned in competition. But when Devon Achane does what he did against Aubrey Miller, against Jerome Baker and David Long, then I'll say, okay, he can do it. Now, did he pass the first sniff test? Yes, he did. Savon failed it. Miles failed it. Mostert failed it. Jeff Wilson wasn't there. So I can't sit here and say, oh, he won his rep. He absolutely won his rep. But does that mean that he can pass block in the NFL? Jury's still out.
But again, he passed the first test, which is good. And it's a great way to wrap up this recap of training camp practice numbers.
Tomorrow, we will have your question. So if you have a question for us, ask it on Twitter, and we will get it and answer it on the show.
What Omar just said. Omar, until we meet again.
Say it.